Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Upper right hand corner we have Zen starting as the white Protoss, bottom left hand corner we have Balance starting as the green, I'll call it green, Zerg. Can't remember what this color's official olive, I think olive might be what it's called in the official Brood War color selection. This is going to be on Eclipse where you got the even partition. I don't know why this is so aesthetically pleasing for me though, but just seeing that mini-map crossing, I just like, wow, map makers, hats off, you did a really great job. Anyway, I'm going to presume you guys have watched. It's possible that you're new to this and you're not familiar with the map, but the map will reveal itself as we get into play, and I'm not expecting it to go super long between these two, mostly because no offense to Zen, but I believe, or no offense to Balance, I should say, I believe Zen is a better player here. He was very, very strong in round one. Who did he play in round one? I'm trying to remember his Zerg opponent. I don't think it was Art of Turtle. Art of Turtle continued in the winners match, but point being, he was a very, very strong opponent, opening up with the double Stargate swap, which a lot of Protoss have been trying to do. That being said, as of this tournament, I don't know what's happening in the ladder or in this latest stage of ASL, which is coming up by the time I've casted this, but it does seem like Zerg has the advantage overall in the meta. By the way, Overpool, which a lot of Zerg have been favoring in this matchup, wanting to make sure that they don't have to deal with initial drone initial probe harassment, nor with initial zealot pressure on the gateway. It provides a little bit of extra padding. You can fill in the Zerglings a little bit more. And I think the big thing is I think Zerg got sick of going 11 hatch and then having zealots in their natural expansion and needing to fend them off with drones only and ending up behind at that stage. It just feels bad, even if you end up economically ahead with a drone or two loss in the midst of that. It's just kind of frustrating to deal with. So I understand the desire to instead just opt for Overpool. Zen, this is a two-player map, by the way. Zen going ahead and trying to blockade that natural expansion initially. Initial shot, I believe, was from the probe, and drones have trouble against probes in general, so the probe holding fast with its prize. It looks like instead the 9 o'clock location's been grabbed and this probe wandering out to go ahead and get an initial scout. First zealot, I thought a first zealot would already be on the way. My sense of timing is slightly off right this second, but first zealot is on the way. The initial Zerglings are on the way as well. Only 4 Zerglings constructed. Oftentimes it looks like, are they going for, let's see if the zealot heads straight to the 9 o'clock. That's oftentimes an option, is just to find that hatchery and then not worry about it with the additional. Looks like a drone setting at the natural expansion a little bit early here for Balance. Single Zergling being sent off the probe. Balance actually showing a pretty good game thus far, actually. And that hatchery about halfway down to the 9 o'clock location. Zealots returning to just blockade the ramp. Wants to make sure Zerglings, oh, never mind, going all the way into the main. Why are we going back into the main? I think this is a misclick. Oh, there's a drone up there. That's why. It's wise to bring a Zealot back to go ahead and blockade the ramp just so Zergling run-bys aren't a thing. This Zealot doing some good damage to the 9 o'clock. 3 Zerglings, sorry, now 4 Zerglings at the Zealot. Yeah, can make his way back. It looks like Zen trying to get as much damage as possible, and as a result, it's going to end up losing out on what could have been, if you got behind, a little bit of a better trade right there. So ends up losing a lot. Did manage to, I believe he managed to kill the drone. Yeah, the Zealot has a kill in the interim. Zerglings, a lot of Zerglings built in the mid game. Balance taking interesting risk here. I wonder if this is going to turn into 3-hatch Hydra all-in. He's still sitting at 8. Do we already have a Hydra? So the extractor dropped. Still sitting at 10 drones. Very, very light and very Zergling heavy. No Forge as of yet. We do have a handful of Zealots, though, to blockade, to group up this front. With these Zerglings coming forward, some of the Zealots are going to have to come off the line. Some probes coming off the line as well. And Balance actually might have found an opportunity. A shield battery dropped from Zen, realizing he was late to drop that Forge. Zerglings have cleaned up the front. There's 2 probes blockading to the north. They're going to have to let this door open, and Balance has an opportunity to go for a run by. The Zerglings getting on top of the probes, getting some good damage on this Zealot, not participating like he should. So now we've got a whole bunch of Zerglings making it into the main. So where I was like, what's Balance doing? Balance on top of it. And by the way, he surged to a massive amount of workers as that hatchery is cleaned up. And now I'm wondering if Zen is going to either invest in a cannon at his main. Ooh, the gas getting interrupted. This might be it for Zen. I thought he was a shoo-in for this match, honestly, given his previous play, but now all of a sudden his economy is honestly behind Balance's off 3 bases, although Balance does have a few idle drone, well, an idle drone at the moment, but Cannon finally warps into the natural expansion. The Zerglings look like they're getting cleaned up by the Zealot. Wow, that Zealot of Heroes got taken care of 3 Zerglings. I guess I didn't see how late that Forge was. It's also going to be a late +1 weapons, by the way. I wonder how many Zerg actually used that opportunity when they notice how late the Forge is. Also, we have the 7X core being built there. The probe a few mini 2 probes. Yeah, Zen, I think, panicking a bit, has now pushed the rest of his units to the gas. No natural expansion gas as of yet. I think he's completely thrown off his build order. It looks like he's now just trying and finally getting the last Zergling cleaned up. Is trying to reorganize everything. Lair about 1/3 finished. Still more Zerglings that have been built here from balance. It looks like he's going to go ahead and drop that 4th hatchery. And he's got absolutely 0 pressure from Zen right this second. Zen still hasn't dropped a Stargate. Zen has very little clue what's going on. He's going to go ahead and move forward to probe. Already making our way to 5 hatcheries, by the way. So I think this is going to be... We might skip... he might be able to skip Spire right here, honestly. Considering how... So Zen's done a really good job. I want to give hats off to Zen. Despite all of the pressure that he suffered, that probe is so dead. Well, is it? Okay, there we go. 8 Zealots marching out, briefly thinking about applying some pressure, but the number of Zerglings on the field going to go ahead and make it think twice. 7X cores up, Stargate's hiding in the back corner, Citadel of Adun dropping as well. The Overlords, they're seeing everything. I wonder if we're going to see a second Stargate in the natural expansion. We do have a pylon dropping, potentially for that. And we are seeing a Spire, but the Spire... It's unusual, kind of the way this build's shaped up, because the Spire... I think Balance didn't realize how his drone surge maybe even caught himself by surprise, and maybe decided to drop the 2 additional hatcheries in response to that. Hydrosten drop, though, continuing to pump out the workers, but wanted to give kudos to Zen. Despite all that pressure, he kept building probes, and that's put him in a good position where he's 10 workers up, where it's about where you want to be. First Corsair on the way, +1 weapons on the way. A few gateways being built. Right now, Balance recognizing... Well, he was ahead in the build order not too long ago, upgrading Burrow, interestingly enough. That's interesting. I wonder if he's going to try to burrow some Zerglings at the 12 o'clock, etc., to try to deny that 3rd base over a longer period of time. Love seeing that, actually, as far as creative play. We do have an Evolution Chamber dropping at the 9 o'clock location as well, and Hydrilla Speed on top of everything else. Corsair making its way out. That will be ahead of the Spire. Might be able to get an Overlord kill before Scourge is able to spawn. We'll have to see. But there's also going to be Hydralisks potentially to deal with it. At the very least, Zen is going to be able to get eyes on things, sees the hatchery, sees, the main, taking a few shots, but it looks like he's going to go ahead and back up. Is he going to make his way up to the 9 o'clock location to confirm the drone saturation there as well? Because Balance has very, very heavily droned up. And unfortunately for Zen, I don't know if there's a lot he can toss at him right this second. These are the situations where I'm like, maybe it makes more sense to just make sure you got 5 Corsairs, get your robotics, burrow at all the extraneous bases to go ahead and prevent. And I love this from Balance, actually. So rather than risking Overlords on the field to provide vision, he's just burrowed a good grouping of Zerglings, so he can see Zen on all of his timings whenever he's moving out the base, and should be able to respond in kind of that. And he can macro very heavily, as long as he keeps a good number... As long as he doesn't spend all of his larvae simultaneously and keeps a good amount of larvae out in the field by the... Oh, okay, I was about to say, is that probe intentionally trapping itself? I think so. To be micro for the Corsairs. So the Zealot's starting to move out. The Scourge are making their way in to go ahead and scout, but they see... So I love this, actually, because from this position, Balance, theoretically, will be able to respond to Zen's positioning. So although he's missing a few Zerglings at a critical point right here, where he'd really be able to see where the Zealots were headed rather than the natural expansion or the 9 o'clock. This time it looks like it's the 9 o'clock. These Zealots still might get something done, because not a lot of... feel like that was a bit of a waste from Balance, because he had Zen having trouble microing his way up. Okay, now able to get up. Yeah, there's not a... wasted a lot of time, actually, with the Zealots just sitting there. Sunken Colony finishes. And Hydrola spawn as well. That's unfortunate. The difference of about 3 or 4 seconds there. That could have been a lot, honestly, as far as Zealot damage. Instead, they only get a Sunken Colony, get some Hydralisks, and have to exit out otherwise. Corsair is making the way towards the 9 o'clock base. There are enough Corsair to do something there. There is an extraneous Overlord. A couple Scourge floating out here as well. But that's going to be it. And we do have a Dark Templar out in play that did supply cap Balance. He's still in a really good position, though. He's got a massive drone count to work with. His Hydralisks are almost have +1 and full upgrades otherwise. And Zen, his economy was late, and he's gone for a very large gateway flood behind this. Psystorm morphing as well. Is he producing? Oh, he already has 2 High Templar out in the front. My other curiosity is this +1 is hitting fairly close, yeah, to Zealot +1, and if the upgrades continue when you have a second evolution chamber, and I don't think we have a second forge as of yet, theoretically, Balance can win the upgrade, the long haul upgrade war. Balance's supply also very, very close to Zen's, which is never a good sign for Protoss. A handful of Zealots pocketed interior to the middle plateau. Looks like we have a Dark Templar here, but he's not going to be able to get a lot. And Zen hunting for Overlords that just aren't there. Sees a few Zerglings and honestly nothing else. Hydralisks moving. Good Overlord movement here from very great discipline, honestly, to negate that Dark Templar. A Zealot trying to check top left. So just seeing whether Balance expanded or not, and maybe thinking about, hey, maybe there's some extra territory. But with those burrowed Zerglings without a Psystorm, it's going to be challenging for Zen to get anything done. And honestly, he's a bit behind on the troop count here. And losing some Zealots, not for free, but definitely losing some Zealots on the front. Does have a good amount of Psystorm to at least box into his own base. And building a lot of Dragoons to try to counter this. He does have the robotics facility about halfway finished, but Balance staying ahead is already grabbing the interior, or I should say the exterior 9 o'clock base. If he can keep on top of the evolution, both evolution chambers finished, if he can stay on top of that, he's going to have fantastic upgrades. He's got a lot of Hydralisks already outside the natural expansion, a good Storm Dodge or two, and he'll be in really good straits here. And this is not a lot of Zealots to try to push this back. Zen kind of donating some troops potentially here, maybe wanting to, I'm not sure the logic behind this. Overlords get picked off. Maybe he was hoping to, yeah, I'm not sure what the logic behind that was. The Zerglings staying burrowed, by the way. Maybe the rest of the unit's not making their out because the front door is so cluttered. The gateway hasn't been wiped out to open things up as of yet. Zen trying to get towards the 12 o'clock. That's been picked off. The Corsair are going to be able to spot, well, we'll get 2 Overlord kills and the spot on that new expansion. But otherwise, this is a lot of Hydralisks. +1 up and +1 armor, and more Hydralisks coming. No Observer as of yet. Okay, Psystorm. Managed to catch a few Hydralisks. We're going to need another few Psystorms to really open things up. Wow, that was a good Psystorm to follow, though. And Zen has surged forward in supply and is getting really good Psystorms. And a lot of Overlords, honestly, that to donate to these Dragoons. So Balance now losing control of the front. More Hydralisks are stepping in. Do we have more Psystorm to work with? Doesn't look like it, but there's still a pretty sizable attack force here from Zen to shove that troop back. The Corsairs still checking out that 9 o'clock. Hydra's still fighting, even though they're outnumbered, gonna get wiped out. The probe gonna make its way out. Might be a spot of confusion, but might recognize, oh, okay, Burrow's in place. We do have an observer along the way. Yeah, pylon dropped. It'll require a cannon. See if the Zergling is heads up and unburrows and get some damage done. Balance saturating the 9 o'clock location. Very, very scary moment here for Zen, where he's up a mass. Well, let's see how this plays out. He's up a massive amount of supply. He balances even on workers, but he hasn't rebuilt. He doesn't have any lurkers on the field that, oh, never mind. He's got a handful of lurkers outside the natural expansion, but doesn't have a lot of troop count otherwise. And that's a very vulnerable, yeah, 9 o'clock base, which is now being assaulted. Zen splitting his attack force, just sending a few Zealots up to the 9 o'clock. That should be sufficient to clean that up, honestly. It's going to push the rest of this attack force back. Does he have any additional? He's going to have at least 2 Psystorms to work with. Good Psystorm there. And getting some really, really good trades out of this. Not a lot of focus fire currently from Balance. And the Hydralisks are just melting as Zen's pressing into this. No observers, however, so this plenty of Psystorm. So these units gonna have to back off. 9 o'clock base has been cleaned up. Zen has managed to get the cannon down to wipe out the Zergling there at the 12 o'clock. It looks like Zen thinking about going for a double expansion, recognizing his position currently. And all of a sudden, Zen walking away with this. That's unfortunate because I feel like Balance actually had, it could be a gas issue. Lurkers trying to clean up these Zealots and some Zerglings spawning as well to reopen this exterior 9 o'clock base, but Zen has a large army sitting mid-map, still a Zergling nearby to at least spot something as it's coming out. That Zealot's going to be cleaned up, but I don't know that there's going to be a lot else to hold because Zen has a huge amount of troops and he can really bully the map with this. Looks like we do have the additional upgrades coming, but it's still behind Zen's current upgrade cycle off the single forge. Archon's wiped out, but the rest of the troops have been eliminated, and now Balance is locked into 3 bases. Zen's about to go ahead and grab an additional base. Balance isn't out of it, but this is starting to look very, very scary for him. He has done nothing to halt Zen. Zen continuing to press this, making his way out to the 9 o'clock, side-storming the Lurkers, and is able to get his way up into the high ground, playing very aggressively. Also, we have some cannons coming to play at the 12 o'clock, so that's going to open up yet another base for Zen. His main is mined out, by the way. A lot of idle workers there. Natural expansion about to be mined out. Doesn't matter, though, because he's now busted the 9 o'clock base. We have some Hydralisks coming in. Not a pithy attack force there. Very slim pickings as far as defense forces for Balance. Some more, it looks like 5 more Hydralisks making the way, but the reinforcements are going to be plenty to go ahead and clean that up. Balance GGing. Zen off a rough opener, able to recover. Balance not able to macro quite as he had hoped. And as a result, Zen will continue in the lower bracket. Balance is now eliminated, unfortunately. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.